Hi, I wanted to talk through the rhythm syllable system that we're using in this class. And just like with anything new, just try to give it your best shot. I'm not going to grade too harsh on the syllables themselves. The idea is that they help you keep track of rhythms without relying upon numbers. And it's almost like a solfege system, but for rhythm. So let's start by just sort of getting used to what the rhythms are and how they work. So let me go over here and to the slide and zoom in a little bit to the syllables. And we are in simple time. We're going to focus on simple meter, which means that the beat divides into two even parts and that each subdivision is into two even parts. So if you have a meter of 2/4, you have two beats. Each beat gets a ta. So the way the system works is that each pulse in 2/4 gets a ta. So that's the quarter note. Ta, 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 ta. And I typically ask, let me try to get this in the screen, is that we conduct as we go. And so let me slow down the tempo. Ta, 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 ta. So our conducting pattern is telling us the meter. We are keeping track of the subdivisions of the meter. Ta, 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 ta. That's the first step, is establishing tempo, internalizing it, and maintaining that tempo yourself. It's a really important skill that is important to emphasize. Keeping your own tempo. Real simple. Ta, 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 ta. There's no metronome involved right now, but I'm keeping my own tempo. Ta, 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 ta. Now you can practice with the metronome if you like. Let me slow that down. Not sure that's audible, but I believe it is. Ta, 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 ta. However, I think that's a little bit more difficult, and I think that with time you can establish your own metronome internally. Ta, 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 ta. Now, I encourage you to do this again on the daily as a way to maintain your skills and your internal musician. So as we divide our main pulse, ta, 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 we can think about any subdivision of eighth notes as the other side of each beat. And I use the syllable T as a way to differentiate between downbeat and the subdivision of the downbeat, or the pulse and the subdivision of the pulse is probably a better way to state that. Ta, ta. If this is our 2/4 pattern, let me move my camera so that you can see my other ta, 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 ti, 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 ta. Now, if you keep that tempo, you can alternate between tas and ta-tis in a way that is improvisatory. That's a great way to practice. Ta, ti, ta, 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 ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, 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 ti, ta, ta, ti, ta. Just kind of make up whatever you like. Ta. Or you can improvise in a way where you're doing one off and one on, or copying things. Ta, ti, ta, ta, ti, ta, 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 ti, ta. Start simple and build from there. That is our vocabulary for eighth notes. The same goes for 3/4 or 4/4. So if we start our conducting pattern in 1, 2, 3, ta, ta, ti, ta, 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 ti, ta, ta, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ta, ta, ta. You can improvise in the meter. Your T's are always going to be on the eighth note side of the pulse. Your Tas are always on the quarter note side of the pulse. Now, the next level up is our 16th notes, which divides the meter into 4 parts. Note that we still have the ta and the T component of the eighth note pulse. Ta, ti, ta, ta, ti, ta. But we're now subdividing in between those two things, ta and T. And we use the word key as the use to say the word K, which uses the back of our palate when we speak. So ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. So ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ki, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ki, ti, ki, ta, ti. It's almost like when you double tongue on a brass instrument, you use taka, taka, ta to go back and forth between the tonguing of an articulation of the air. You're doing the same thing here. And this way we're conducting the pattern to find beat 2 and beat 3 and 4 and so on. But we're just saying the rhythms as we see them. In some ways it's simpler, but I know these are new syllables, and so there'll be a little bit of a learning curve. If you practice them, it will get much easier. So we can then put all these together in an improvisation. I'll conduct in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, ta, ti, taki, tiki, ta. Taki, tiki, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta. Taki, tiki, ta, ta, ti, ta, 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 taki, tiki, ta. I just made that up in my mind, mixing around all the different options I have available. I'm starting small and I'm building from there. Hopefully, too, we're also visualizing the notation of what we say. So when I say ta, ti, ta, I'm picturing 2 eighth notes and a quarter note. I'm also picturing 4 16th notes if I say taki, tiki, ta, ti, ta. I'm picturing those rhythms on a page or in a measure. So we're connecting our bodies with what we say and what we think, what we visualize. It's a full corporal experience. Let's see. So now we have different combinations of the first 3 elements. And we can think of these as words if you want. Number 4 is putting the 16th note subdivision on the second side of the pulse. So we're saying ta, tiki, ta, tiki, ta, tiki, ta, tiki. The syllables keep you in check. They maintain this proper subdivision for you. Ta, ti, ta, tiki, ta, tiki, ta, tiki, ta, tiki, ta, tiki, ta, ti, ta. So you can then fold that into your improvisation of making up rhythms by jumping from one to the next. This number 5 is a further sort of a deviation from them, where we have taki ti. The 16th note subdivision is on the front side of the pulse. Taki ti, ta ti, taki ti, taki ti, taki ti, taki ti, ta ti, ta. Once you've established that, you can then build and go back and forth between number 4 and number 5. So you can say ta, tiki, taki, ti, ta, tiki, ta, ti, and so on and so forth, and kind of go back and forth between them. Number 6 is interesting because we have to hang on to that ta because the key is on the last part of the beat there. It's way at the end of each pulse. And so when we use these rhythms, we have to make sure that we're hearing the full taki tiki subdivision of the pulse. Taki tiki taki. It's almost like a thing going on in the back of your mind. Ta, ki 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 ta, taki ki ta, ki ta, ki kat, ti kat. I'm getting tongue-tied. Ta, ki ta, ki ta, ki ta, ki ta, ki ta, etc. Excuse me. So yeah, it is a bit of a tongue twister, especially when you do it over and over and over again. However, what that does is it makes sure that your internal clock is making that all fit together. We're not relying on metronome necessarily, just like in solfege, we're not relying on piano necessarily. We're cultivating our inner metronome, right? And so saying this module correctly assures us that we're subdividing it correctly. Ta, ki, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta, ki, ta, and so on and so forth. So when we move on to actual rhythms, these are actually quite simple this week. It's just a matter of getting really used to the system. We're thinking in terms of 2/4, and we're conducting in 2/4, right? So we're making kind of a J pattern with our conducting hand. So we say ta, 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 ti, ta, taki, tiki, ta, taki, tiki, ta, rest. You conduct all the way through to the end. In a 3 pattern, 1, 2, go. Ta, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, taki, tiki, ta, ta, ti, taki, tiki, ta, rest, rest. And so we're keeping a very simple tempo, not fast. We're internalizing it first, making sure we're able to stick with our own tempo and navigate the syllables and the rhythms as we go. Our conducting hand is basically is what we use to establish beats 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and so on. Okay, I think that covers our introduction to the rhythm syllables. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.